You know what struck me almost immediately about The Housemaid is how familiar it felt, and I mean that as a compliment. Familiar in a way that reminded me of a type of movie we used to get all the time, and now almost never do. And this movie did not arrive as an event, it did not feel like it was trying to announce itself as important or necessary. It just showed up, dropped a tense trailer, and trusted curiosity to do the rest. And honestly, that kind of confidence feels rare right now. I knew it was based on a book that people really loved. I had not read it. I went in mostly blind, and that worked in the film's favor. There was no checklist in my head, no comparison running alongside it. Just the movie, the performances, and the experience of letting it unfold. But before I go any further, I want to take a step back, because this ties in directly into how I responded to the film. Earlier this year, I reviewed Primate, and a TikTok film critic called me out in the comments, and he said, they said something along the lines of, yeah, but it was fun, right? And at least you can go to the movies and just have fun. And to be clear, I never said I did not have fun watching Primate. I did. I just think it was a bad movie overall. That exchange stuck with me more than I expected because it forced me to articulate something I probably take for granted. Fun does not automatically mean good, and something not being fun does not automatically mean bad. Those two ideas get blurred constantly in online film conversation. So when I say The Housemaid is fun, I want to be very clear about what I mean, because I mean it very specifically. This is a fun in a way that thrillers used to be fun. Late 90s, early 2000 movies built on tension, performances, and controlled chaos. Films that did not feel they need to justify their existence beyond keeping you engaged. They trusted the audience to lean in rather than chasing approval. For me, life got in the way. It took a while before I finally sat down and watched it. And by the time I did, people around me had already been asking if I'd seen The Housemaid yet. Over and over, and that alone told me something. Movies do not get talked about like that anymore unless they are connecting in some genuine way. I paired The Housemaid with The Testament of Anne Lee as a part of, I jokingly called Amanda Seyfried week, but watching those two films close together really clarified how different performance styles connect in different ways. Amanda Seyfried is doing exceptional work in The Housemaid. What impressed me most is not the intensity, but the restraint. Nothing feels exaggerated. Nothing feels pushed. There is a confidence in how she lets scenes breathe. She understands when to hold back and when to let a moment sit, and that control is what makes the tension land harder. You feel that something is off long before the movie ever needs to tell you that something is off. That is not an accident. That is a performance choice. I actually connected with her performance here more than I did in The Testament of Anne Lee. That film asks for distance and reflection. The Housemaid asks you to lean in. Her character here feels more layered, more recognizable. Even as things escalate, if I am weighing the two films against each other, The Housemaid is one that stayed with me. Sweeney plays the title role, and I want to be fair here because conversation around her tends to swing extremes very quickly, and I do not think she's a bad actress. I thought she was the standout in last year's box office flop Eden, film directed by Ron Howard. I think she has become a shorthand for frustration that are bigger than any one performer. That said, in this film, she is not the strongest performance. Some of her delivery feels restrained in ways that flatten certain moments. I also think the character itself could have been sharper on page, but here's the important part. That imbalance between her performance and Seyfried actually serves the story. One presence dominates the space while the other reacts, adjusts, and absorbs. That dynamic works. It may not be perfectly balanced, but it is effective. Brandon Sklenar deserves recognition here as well, not for stealing scenes, but for grounding them. His performance adds stability to an environment that could easily drift into something heightened. He does not demand attention. He helps makes the situation feel lived in, and that grounding is doing a lot more work than people realize. And what impressed me most overall is how confident this movie is in what it wants to be. Paul Feig understands this material. While many people still associate him primarily with comedy, his recent work shows a clear interest in female-driven stories centered on power, perception, and control. He explored this territory effectively with A Simple Plan, and while another simple plan did not fully land for me, The Housemaid feels like a confident recalibration rather than a correction. The film fits comfortably within that lane. It never lectures, it never over-explains, it trusts the audience to stay engaged and rewards attention rather than spelling everything out. Could you nitpick it? Sure. You could pull at the plot details if you wanted to. You could question decisions or logistics, but I honestly do not see the value in that. This movie works because it commits to being engaging, and I think that is why people have responded to it the way they have. We do not get mid-budget thrillers like this very often anymore, and when one lands, especially one driven by performances rather than excess, it feels like a reminder what this genre can still do when it's allowed to simply exist. Is it the best movie ever? No. Is it a movie that delivers exactly what it promises? Absolutely. And sometimes that's enough. I am genuinely curious what you all thought, because so far I have not heard much negativity around it. Appreciate you going on this film journey with me. As always, be real.
I want you to feel safe here. I do.